what used to be called the traditional district conservationists over there in Old County, Muskogee, and Wagner, which are these three counties. This is one of my employees, William Cruz, the resource conservationist in Muskogee County, which his title is going to take to DC coming up eventually whenever we get everything situated. I've done this for a few years, so I like to take the approach a little bit different. What do you know about NRCS? I don't want to talk real fast about farm bill.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably stupid, but what is NRCS?
Natural Resources Conservation Service.
There we go.
We used to be called the Soil Conservation Service back in all the way up to like '94, but then they realized you do more than just protect our soils, so they changed it, rebranded us back in '94. So that's why we are the NRCS. Does anybody questions, like thoughts, or I guess I don't want to. I can talk about you put the CSP so fast that y'all look at me.
Don't you guys do, like, if you want to improve things on your land, y'all would come in and, it's like, for example, like, you have bad erosion in your pond, you guys would come in and, like, kind of help fix that?
Yes, ma'am. So perfect. So that leads in EQUIP. So one of our main programs that falls on the farm bill is EQUIP, Environmental Quality Incentive Program. Now, I will talk fast. If I start going out acronyms, then you don't look like I'm finished. Just stop me. I'm trying to make sure that I say what it is. But EQUIP, Environmental Quality Incentive Program. What it does is exactly what you said. You have a concern on your place and you need some assistance on fixing it. The step one is just technical assistance. What can be done? You know, so I guess I'll back up how you put it. First, technical assistance. What can be done? How can we use our technical assistance to come out and show you how to fix whatever erosion control problem you might have, brush control problem, pretty much that. When I was coming up to school, it was called SWAPA. You ever heard that? Something like that. SWAPA, soil, water, air, plants, and animals, our natural resources. So any natural resources related to our soils, our water, or water quality, air quality, plants, plant productivity, dust pressure, weed issues, or just lack of grass or nutrients in your grass, and animals, you know. So anything that falls under that that's prohibiting you in your operation, we probably, I would say probably, because there's always something that we may not be able to do, but we probably have some type of technical assistance where we can show you something to be done, how to fix it, and we'll try to give you a couple of different options on how to fix it. At that point, then we say, okay, now there may be some cost share assistance to help offset some of that cost. So if you need another pond, you know, you could apply for EQUIP, Environmental Quality Incentive Program, to get some assistance to build this pond the way we say build it. And then we got away from that 50%, 75% cost share, because as soon as we say that, then it doesn't quite equate out to that. Now you're upset with us because we're not giving you a full 75. It's only 74%. Well, it may not be that bad, but or that nice. But we have a set cost share rate that we'll pay to do this pond. And the other side of that is we're only going to do what's needed. Meaning, let's go out there and we figure out, you know, acreage, runoff, amount of head. Let's say you need a 1,765 square foot pond. Well, you want a 3,000 square foot pond. That's great. That's fine. We're going to pay for the 1,765 foot pond. Brush management. You know, if you need to clear some trees. I know why I say that word. Clear some trees. We don't like to use the word clear like deforest, but depending on the species, you know, we'll go out there. Well, so there is cost share assistance to help with brush management. And I can really speak just from my area. And so my area, Oklahoma, Muskogee, Wagner, a lot of cattle producers, so the majority is going to be livestock, water, brush management. You start getting into some other neck of woods. I did work in Arkansas at one point in time. I never got down into like where they did the rice field, but I know there's some different practices that's being done in Arkansas. I worked in Minnesota for a couple of years. I know they run a lot of like tile. We don't run tile in Oklahoma. So depending on where you're at in the United States, you know, there's going to be different practices that's going to be available to you in your specific operation. But it is there. We take applications year round, but we only have a cutoff. As of now, we only have a cutoff once a year. So you go into your office, you can go in your office tomorrow, whenever you get back to your home, not tomorrow, Monday through Friday, fill the application, That application is good until they say stop taking applications, which may be October 1st, it may be December 15th, it may be January 3rd, who knows, when they cut it off. But whenever it's cut off, that application you filled out prior to that date is good to be considered for ranking. The ranking system, the way it works, it also kind of falls in, and they left with that sheet you had where you list off, your resource concerns. Livestock water might be your issue, brush management might be your issue, soil health might be your issue. Those things, even though you're filling out for them, we take those as well. And so when we go in, we're able to say, okay, let's put a priority on livestock water issue. Not that you can't apply for a pond, or not that you can't apply for brush management, it's just someone that's doing livestock water is going to get a higher point system because the majority of the county at that time is saying we need help with brush management, or vice versa. Or it may be one of those things where, and I'll say this, I can only speak for up to this day, things rapidly change or could be changing. So we could also say, okay, we got 55% of the county that's saying they need water, 45% or less is saying they need brush. We have the option, or we've had the option to be able to say, let's say, okay, let's ask for a separate, and maybe it's just in the northeast part of the county. Maybe just the northeast part of the county has got an issue. And we're missing them because it's just only that little pocket. We could ask for what's called an LEA and ask for funding just to address a certain concern within that area. I worked in Western Oklahoma, and we had one where it was Northern Custer County Cedar Patrol. So if you was basically I-40 or north and you had cedars, there was a special allocation just for that part of the county. Cedars. Sorry for the south side of the county, but for whatever reason, we had a lot more cedars on the north end of the county. So there's options, but the way we get those options is definitely being involved with your county committees, your conservation districts, and then just coming into our office and saying, hey, these are my concerns, so that we know. Because otherwise, we're flying kind of blindly. I know I've been back here about a month, but before I won't get into my history, but I worked here in this county before, and when I was here 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I could never get anybody to come to the office, so I would just basically blanket, we're just gonna do brush management, livestock water brush management. I didn't know anything else. Nobody would show up to me. So your voice, it's your tax dollars. So it's your voice to come in, speak, let us know, squeaky wheel, keep speaking. I mean, it's not one of those deals where the more you knock on the door, the more you got a better chance of getting in, but there's a better chance that that person that you're knocking on the door to say, okay, how can I be this person? Let me at least make sure that what they're wanting is on this list, and whether they get it or not, because we still have a resource concern ranking sheet we've got to go through. But at least if you know that we're doing everything we can, if you aren't able to get in, you're like, well, they tried. Versus, well, they just keep telling me we can't. They keep telling me we can't. So, talking fast. That's one program. Like the EQUIP program is our program where we try to fix an issue. Let's say you don't have a lot of things that you need to fix. Our next program, CSP, Conservation Stewardship Program. It was designed to be more of a reward type system. Place doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be where you don't have any issues at all, but you're already at a pretty high level of conservation. The grass is good, you don't have to be in this perfect rotational grazing system, but you got something going, and I'm gonna keep referring to cattle because this is my neck of the woods. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's got to be in a pretty good shape. And so now we're saying, okay, well, you're already spraying. Let's look at doing a little bit more GPS target spraying. Or you're already doing a rotational grazing system. Let's look at doing a little bit more intensive grazing system. Or everybody throws out pollinators. But it's just different enhancements that you can try to implement on your property, on your operation over 5 years, just to see if you like it. To see if it works out for you, because what it is it's taking something a step further than where you're at. So you're sitting here, at the end of that 5 years, we want to be able to take your operations conservation to this level. Equip your conservations down here. You got some erosion, you got some problems going on. CSP, you're sitting here, we want to see if we can get you to a higher level. As of right now, it's a 5-year program. The minimum payment on a CSP contract right now is $4,000. The max payment per year is $40,000. And there's different things that go into how we get to that number, but let's just say you come in and after we figure out everything, we calculate acres and what you pick, it comes out to 1,500, we'll automatically bump it to that 4,000. But, you know, if you come and you got a decent amount of land, you know, a few things, you know, your maximum payment per year is 40,000. So somewhere in between that. Talking fast because I don't want to take up too much of William's time showing you, because he's going to show you things better than what I can show you. But any questions from what I said or any other rumors you heard, you know, one thing which I haven't heard this in a long time, people say, well, if we build a pond for you, you got to open it up to the public. You know, we don't do that. We don't even care if you stock it with fish. We're doing it for livestock purposes. But that was something that used to be heard. Cross fencing, we do cross fencing. We don't do perimeter fencing, at least here in Oklahoma. I can't speak for other counties or other states. I think I've heard Texas may do perimeter, but again, that's just something you have to speak with your local office. I will say this, because I am talking fast. Number one thing, this is your taxpayer dollars. When you come into the office and ask for assistance, we're gonna do the best we can to explain, but just like I can talk fast, other folks can talk fast. If y'all don't understand what we said to you, make sure you understand. Ask, bug us. We don't know that you don't know. So I hate it, I would hate for you to walk out and not get service just because we felt we gave you service. So don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't know what the heck you just said to me about resource concerns. Explain that to me. If I can't explain it to you, can you get somebody that can explain it to you a little bit better? You know, I'm the last person to talk about cropping systems because I hate it. So I will fumble through a cropping system. So let me get somebody else that can come in and talk about your tillage system. But that is, if you don't get what I'm trying to get explained to you, you know, ask. If you apply for a program and you don't get in and you don't understand why, make it make sense to you, okay? We're not gonna get everybody in, we don't have fun. Even though we got better funding than state cost share, we still can't get everybody in. But a lot of times we're running by the seat of our pants, and so here's your eligibility letter, or here's your, you know, deferred letter. Say, why didn't I get in this year? I'm like, well, this is why. We can run through the ranking sheet, we can explain, we can show, you know, that's our job to do, but you gotta ask us. So, sorry for that. Any questions? I'm sorry.
Okay, so these programs are Oklahoma
Yes.
based. They're
Well,
not-
no.
They're
national.
everywhere.
They're
National.
everywhere. Yes, ma'am.
So if we wanted to talk about these programs with someone, we would go to the National Resources Conservation Service of our state,
Of your county.
of our county.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so we all have this in our state.
So Oklahoma, we've got 77 counties in Oklahoma. We've got an office in all 77 counties. Some counties across the country, just because of staffing wise, you know, it may be a joining county that covers both counties. But there is going to be an office that covers both counties either way. So I think he's going to show you how to find it. Okay. Any
I
questions?
got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
If you got one, go ahead.
Wildlife management,
Wildlife management. Specifically, what about it?
wild hogs, coyotes, different things like that that's carried up the land,
So-
carried up the pond.
Yes and no.
No.
What we do, and that's why, they threw our name NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service, because we cover a wider range of protecting our natural resources. But we don't, I'm not gonna tell you how to raise the best cattle or the best goats someplace. If you got an issue with, you know, grazing or as far as grazing distribution, I can help you from that standpoint. I can't tell you your genetics. I'm not gonna work on that side of it.
Just the habitats and that of what's grazing on the land basically is what.
Yeah,
you guys
it's,
handle.
with the resource concerns, as it relates to the resource concerns. When it gets to the specifics, then that's outside of our realm. You know, so from the standpoint, you know, anything like that, we don't have anything in place that, you know, we did have, I think APHIS and NRCS had a thing, that thing was like 7 years ago, and they still haven't come up with anything. So,
APHIS will come out and draft reports. Just find out who your local APHIS representative is, APHIS, and Health Inspection Service.
but we was in like a deal on the southern counties for a few years and then up on the north county, but I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, in my county, my particular APHIS, with FAR, and, they still come out and set the traps. Yeah, if they have enough money, donors to get together, they will come in helicopters and go about set traps. But they'll come out and set the traps for free and then, dispose of the hogs accordingly. But
Well,
no,
they say you're in Texas.
Yeah, we're in Texas.
So what I can say is keep it down there. Keep it down there.
Oh, okay.
Put up better fences so they can't come north.
I did a question. Is your entity,
Oh, they are, yeah.
do you guys handle the conservation easements and stuff as well? Is that y'all's?
So we've got like wetland easements. We do have some easement departments
I can't remember.
within NRCS.
Okay.
And so possibly, depending on specifically what you're looking at on,
I just couldn't remember if you guys were the ones that handled that or not.
somewhat. And some of the stuff that, you know, that we're at the local field office level, luckily, we don't have to have a hat to handle everything, so we've got engineers in other places, we've got agronomists, we've got range specialists, soil scientists. Yeah, so luckily, we've got, like I'm saying, if we can't explain it, we can get on the phone or email and get somebody to explain something.
Cedar trees.
About, they're pretty, aren't they? I mean,
Is there-
they're all, well,
Is that gonna be something coming, I'm telling you right now, that's wiped the state out. Is there gonna be a program to,
it falls under our EQIP program, it falls under EQIP, potentially your county may address it under state cost share. OCC has some cedar techs, they don't have a whole lot. Jennifer, Heather, how many cedar techs does OCC have right now?
We have one that we are getting from Old County.
Is there one that kind of covers kind of the north central part? The Ponce City is north central, right?
yeah,
Pretty County does got one.
Pretty County,
Well,
maybe.
Busty County has a cedar tech as well.
what about K County? K County?
I haven't heard of another, because they're so close to Stillwater, so I'm not sure. Anita and Kay County, the lady, the person, she's
Yeah, K County is probably the worst in the state.
Under our EQIP program, we do address brush management, I mean, that's part of our.
Cedar's part of brush management.
So under brush management, cedars, wind down, I mean, locust, blackberry, type of weed.
CSP, they cover that too, right? Because
You can get brush management under CSP, the only catch with brush management or any practice under CSP, it doesn't pay a whole lot, it doesn't, so where we might pay up to, depending, I mean, on the top end of brush management on equip, you know, if it was just the worst and it's around 275, 300 something bucks an acre, under CSP, you know, we might pay what?
It's 10% what it pays under.
Yeah, maybe 30 bucks an acre or something.
Is what you all pay.
Under CSP, but the catch with CSP is, you know, your enhancements and, resource concerns that you made at the time of the application, you know, you may be getting a $10,000, $15,000 payment a year, so, you know, you can take that and put that back into the operation, that's what we, you do what you want to with your money, but I mean, you know, we would want you to take that money and
Yeah.
invest it back into the
you
operation.
get compensated on the front end before you complete the practice. Then for 3-4 years, you get more money every year annually, which the minimum would be $4,000
So on CSP, you'll
just to maintain.
have a base payment, and so if your minimum base payment is $4,000, that's what you get each year. The year that you actually implement something, that payment may go up a little bit, depending, so if you're able to, let's say when it's all said and done, you know, your payment comes out to $4,000, you do about 3 or 4 different enhancements, and you get some practice, you know, you may have a year where your payment you get that year is $6,500 or $1,700, or, you know, go for something. Okay.
Is that tax?
Over there fast.
Yes, it will be taxed.
Okay.
That's why, can't say we're doing, that's why I would say, you put it back into the operation, that way you can write it off. Yes, sir.
A couple of questions. Does water erosion come up under your road?
Water erosion, soil erosion? Yeah, we can do the water.
Okay. How hard is it to amend the application once you have the application in?
You mean to change what you want to do on it?
Yeah.
as far as, if we haven't gone out there and actually, I'll say invested, if you put application in and the only thing you write on there is brush management. But between the time that we come out there to evaluate your application, when you come out there, you say, oh, and so until we actually go and see what the rank is, you can have it
After it's ranked, it can't be.
after it's ranked.
So, exactly how do your cost share work?
For equip,
NRCS,
NRCS, from the standpoint of how does it work?
cross fencing.
Oh, how does process work? Okay.
Well, you say you do cross
Cost
share.
share.
Okay, so how does your cost share work?
So equip is what is our program to help alleviate a problem.
Okay.
So if you come in, you apply for application, and I guess, assuming that you've already went to FSA and you got your records established at FSA, you got farm number, track number, showing that you're a producer in the county that you're applying for. When you sign that application, whenever we stop taking applications, there'll be a period, we'll have 30, 60 days, maybe, to go out there and evaluate it. So we'll come out and show us what you want us to look at, like, hey, here's my problem. Where it gets kind of fuzzy is sometimes, it may not qualify as far as what we consider enough of a resource concern, because we just got some, for lack of better words, check boxes that we gotta say, like you're saying, you want a cross fence. Well, if we come out there, grass is good, we got, we have to have a resource concern for us to say that we can justify putting a cross fence out. If we can't justify it, we can't, not say you can't do it, we just can't cost share too big. Or let's say you got signatures, well, we come out there and you got 3 signatures on 100 acres, you don't have enough of a problem for us to do it. I mean, but that's, I guess, to show that there has to be an issue for us to say that we're going to be able to cost share.
Like the swamp? Like the swamp, would you cross things, is that what you're talking about?
Well, I mean, so the reason we would do cross fence, and Will help me out if I'm wrong, because I'm getting my wood going. 2 reasons. One, grazing distribution, we got to, and I say, well, I want to do a rotational grazing system. Technically, yes, but we have to justify it, and probably the best way I seen it doing that, I had a guy, actually when I was here last, 320 acres, for whatever reason, his cattle would graze the crap out of stuff on the east end,
No.
would not touch the west end, had water, foot tall with grass, but could not get them down there. So we said, we got to implement a grazing system. Only way we could do that is we got to fence it off, force them to eat that, and if we come out there, everything looks uniform, there's not an issue with it all, but for us to be able to justify it. So it just depends on your specific, what you want to do, and we can justify it under our guidance. It's not mine, I'm just the middleman that takes it and implements it, so don't get mad at me or anybody else when I say what we can't. It's just me pulling out a book and saying, okay, based off of what we got, because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't know if did I answer the question? Not quite. What specifically are you wanting to do?
What I want to do is, we'll take y'all some down on the pay.
The pay?
Yes,
Did you get a contract?
yes,
And you finished the work?
yes,
And you submitted your receipts?
yes.
How long have you been?
I just about to lose track because when I got called, I believe, with the NRCS guys, it's been out twice, but it's been out 3 times because one of the 3 times was one agent, and then I ended up with another agent, and so now I'm working with two new people that has been on the job for about 6 months.
Had it been out certified practices?
Yes,
So now you signed your 1245. What was all that? 1245. Yeah. Get my mind back. I was in a different role for about 3.5 years, 2.5 years, so I'm getting my mind back around to get it working. You signed that, and it's been, it should be more than 2 weeks.
I will say, like, our direct deposit system, there was some issues. Was it here recently, or has it been a while?
yeah, recently, yeah.
So here recently, there has been some issues, and it's like nationwide, the vendor issues have been nationwide, and it's only on a handful here and there, kind of scattered. But some of those vendors were picking up maybe previous accounts that you had on file, and so we're trying to say without knowing 100%.
Would it be another station? I give you a number now, I don't know if that's for. Every single day. I'm saying there's someone that can be charged blood. I'm serious, I'm standing up
You
there.
will get degrees.
And Lisa, and they'll say something, we're humans too, so I should
got a lot of fun.
So,
That's any, I feel like that's kind of any government program, they kind of take their time. Yeah.
we have hurdles.
No
We have,
offense.
I mean, we have hurdles, we have things, we got systems that crash, I mean, lack of employees, and it's not just any excuse, but from the same side, I understand. And the only way I can say to keep bugging, at some point, okay, I know I got this, but this person's gonna bug me until I get something answered, and I don't mind, y'all can bug me, but y'all will bug me, y'all ain't no problem, so. It's okay, but either way, I don't know how that helps. I would say call and say, hey, you know, I signed this on this day, I mean, it's supposed to be 2 weeks. It usually doesn't take that long unless there's an issue with the system, but I call them. What time it is. 2 o'clock, maybe Monday morning, but. Yeah.
You got some creek, I got quite a few creeks that goes through, a lot of it. Basically, it's set off from the livestock, because the livestock goes through it all the time, and
Yeah.
there's trails all through it, then you get rain, it washes. I mean, is that part of, if you come out to the places, that's something you look at, maybe
Yes.
the creek off, letting it cut the trees and let the grass grow and.
Yeah.
We could do like exclude grazing, where there, you know, no access at all to those areas. That gets re-recommended during there, so like during wet periods,
Yeah,
maybe don't have them in that field, or
Yeah.
you got another field, maybe put them in there type of deal.
yeah, I got that, I just need to fix the creeks off, but I think that, cause I mean, they eat the grass down pretty low when they're in there, and then you get rain and wash everything around, I think the root system needs to grow a little better.
Yeah.
The trees, really want the trees out for erosion, I guess, right?
Depending on the situation, but yeah.
Keep shade, you get grass to grow.
If it's city trees, there's not really much good out of those other than Christmas trees.
I had a problem with the pond drying up.
Oh,
Okay, I cut the cedar tree down, go in there to dry it up, so that's how much daggum water cedar tree will pull.
so like 50 gallons or 500 gallons a day or something like that. That's something really good. Any more questions for me? Will's gonna pull up a couple things, show you how to find your local office, if you know, I'm sure I'll do that.
All right, so you guys heard a lot about programs and a lot about different agencies. How many of you guys have ever participated in any FSA or NRCS programs in the past? Just a show of hands here. So there's a few of you. One back. Yep. So for y'all that haven't ever participated or been into a service center, well, where the heck is one out for you guys? And so this is just kind of a show you guys type of deal. So if you go on to Google and you type in USDA Service Center, scroll down here, and there's a website that you can go to. You can select whatever your county and state is. So for today, we'll just do Oklahoma and Okmulgee County here, just as an example. And it'll list off all the different agencies that are housed at that facility. So for Okmulgee County, there's an FSA office, an NRCS office. It has the point of contacts here, some email addresses, as well as like their physical address as well.
Let's go to Indiana.
Indiana, we're at Indiana.
Elkhart County.
They can care less about Oklahoma County.
What county?
Elkhart.
Elkhart.
Okay, like there at the fairgrounds, pretty much looks like Goshen.
So you guys got an FSA, NRCS, and then a rural development office there in that county. So,
Okay,
so that's just the USDA Service Center finder. This next deal I'm gonna show you is, it's called Web Soil Survey. Web Soil Survey, and it's these are all public access websites. Basically what this Web Soil Survey is, you go into the website here, you'll notice this green button, you click it, it'll throw up a map of the entire US, and you just select whatever state and county here on the left-hand side. So we'll do, say, Indiana again.
The good thing while you're moving it up on this web source survey, it's got a whole bunch of information in there. And one thing that unjob related, I'm sorry, we recently bought a house maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I got septic system. Long story short, when it rains, it doesn't work. It's on the track. The part that people say, well, you need to call this person. They'll come out and they'll do some tests, and so I call the guy. He says, oh, well, we'll do this test, I'll check this, I'll do this, I'll do that, and I'll charge him like $600. And the stuff he started mentioning, I'm like, that sounds familiar. Well, I went in here, drew out my area, I pulled it up everything and did for free. I'm like, I don't need you to tell me that.
Wow.
Soils are terrible. So it does more than just that, but I mean, you can find a bunch of stuff in there. I haven't played in a whole lot, but there's a whole lot of stuff in there you can find out. And,
so what are we seeing here now?
So, done the county and state.
Yeah, yeah.
Drew out an area of interest up here. This AOI button, area of interest. I've mapped out an area right through here.
Okay,
Say I'm interested in, say, what are the soils in that location? How deep are they? What are the slopes? Is it steep land? Is it flat land? That's what this website does. So we'll show you soils that are in this general area. And basically all the US, or majority of it, should be mapped. So you should be able to get on here, map out an area. A lot of times these boundaries, these soil boundaries will actually follow your contours. It's like the lay of the land, the slope of it. To a certain extent, they'll do that. But let's take, for example, this BAA, capital A is a banter sandy loam, and it's a 0 to 1% slope. Basically, you just find it over here on the map. If you were to click that soil here on the left-hand side, like Robert was saying, it's got some pretty neat information. It'll tell you the depths of the different layers of that soil profile. It'll tell you the slope. It'll give you the depth to restrictive layer. This might come in handy, like Robert was saying, for like septic systems. If you're fertilizing, we'd also want to kind of look at how deep that soil is. If it's less than 10 inches, we may not recommend putting any fertilizer out there because it may leach off or run off and not do what it's supposed to do. It also tells you like the depth to your water table, the frequency of flooding. There's lots of good information in there. Another part that's also kind of neat, or at least I think it's kind of neat. If you go up here onto the top where it says Soil Data Explorer, right there, you can click that. And you can get different values for every location. But here in Oklahoma, you can select this range of production. Basically, it's your grass production for that year, and whatever soil type it may be, and maybe how many pounds per acre you might expect off that particular property. So if you're looking to lease a property, buy a piece of land, you can kind of get a clue as to how productive it may be or may not be. So that's kind of useful information, I think. That's kind of web soil survey. You can kind of see, you know, different categories they got here. They got building site development, construction materials, sanitary facilities, things like that. Lots of good information. And the last thing I'm gonna show you guys, I'm not sure if every state has this or not. Oklahoma does, and I think it's a pretty daggum handy tool. It's called OK Maps, and basically, similar to soil survey, you can't get the soil information off this website, but
Show them all this nice Oklahoma technology.
How the heck they get all that data?
Yeah, that's an amazing amount of data, isn't it?
Tell you, we can't let you do that. We tell you, we can't let you do that.
but you can get historical aerial imagery from like the 30s and 60s.
Wow.
What's that, Michelle? Sorry.
Historical aerial imagery from like the 30s, 60s, older stuff is kind of handy. If you're thinking, well, what the heck was there at one point in time or another, you can look it up.
Aerial photos.
We do a lot of, surveying. I mean, they got a lot of information from, like you said, over 30 years, 40s, way back when. People coming in, getting into our programs. Even with us, we do, NRCS National Rangeland Inventory, and it may or may never affect you, but they'll throw out several hundred different, like, spots throughout the country, and basically saying, like, hey, here's 5 spots, 2 spots, 3 spots. Get permission from the landowner to go out there and look and just say, okay, I see Bermuda grass, I see native grass, I see water, I don't see water. Just kind of a survey. So all these, it's just a bunch of different stuff that just comes together from, and there's probably stuff, I think NAS, they take inventory, so just a bunch of different information that's coming from all different places. That you got people that have too much information, or they have too much information, and they put it into neat stuff like that. Or actually public.
Then you can find like land ownership for different parcels of land.
That's good.
Soil depth, that's,
Do what?
them trying to get the soil depth on everybody, I don't know how they.
Yeah, so a lot of that they do kind of use like topo maps to a certain extent, and then they probably have covered a good chunk of the county, maybe not all of it, but a good chunk of it at one point in time or another. So that's just some useful tools I think you guys might be interested in, but that's all I've got for today. So.
Appreciate it.